Hey guys, Camfrey15 back at it with another video for you guys, and I'm back with another One Piece manga chapter review for you guys. So, if you guys already watched my One Piece anime episode review, I said I would be giving you a dual One Piece video day today, where I'm not only talking about the anime episode, I'm also talking about the manga episode. The manga chapter for this week. Again, if you're new to the channel, background information, I typically don't review One Piece chapters every week. I typically only review the chapters if there's a very big story point, a very big importance of story that, well, needs to be talked about, and I want to get my thoughts on it. And so, you know, you don't have to wait how many episodes till this reveal drops in the anime. So yes, but this is One Piece, chapter 1069, titled "All Things Are Brought into This World with Hope." Now, the cover page is of um, Dewfield's excursion, and I'm guessing we're finding out that like he's the guy that kind of in a way started Mads, or he gave like the funding towards the Mads group and everything. If you remember who Dewfield is, he actually showed up at Big Mom's wedding party and everything, and he's like one of the kings of the underworld and stuff like that. So yeah, the only reason why I actually remembered that is because not only did I watch other people's reviews, I'm actually currently watching or rewatching the Whole Cake Island arc, this time in the form of the English dub. But yeah, but anyways, I know it's been a while since I last talked One Piece manga chapters, but Egghead, obviously the whole thing is now CP0 are there, Rob Lucci, Stussy, and Kaku are there, and they pretty much rated Egghead against Vegapunk's orders, because Vegapunk knows that CP0 are going to kill him because he knows too much about the Void Century and its history and everything. So yeah. But anyways, we also see how Rob Lucci showed up, and then he destroyed one of the Vegapunks, which was Dr. Atlas. So all of a sudden we see some of the civilians or some of the other doctors on Egghead. They're running like Rob Lucci got Atlas and everything, and why is Cypher Pole attacking us and everything. And then last week, obviously, the chapter ended off with Luffy seeing Lucci, and he's like, "Pigeon guy." So that's what we start the chapter off here, and Luffy's like, "Pigeon guy, what the hell are you doing here?" and everything, and pretty much Lucci's like, "This is a government island. What the hell are you doing here?" So yeah. And even Luffy's like, "Oh yeah, that's right. We're not supposed to actually be here." So yeah. Chopper's telling Luffy like, "I think we need to get out of here. We can't deal with these guys and everything." Now Kaku's is like, "Oh, it's still the Straw Hat crew is here, and Jewelry Bonnie as well." Now the interesting thing, Stussy and Lucci end up telling Lucci is like, "Listen, do not attack them, Lucci. We need to stand down because they make." And now we're starting to see the positive effect of Luffy finally being an emperor. Pretty much, we find out that world government officials can't deal with emperors because, well, they got a lot of political backing. They can, if a world government, a world government official or even a navy official attacks a emperor or any piece of an emperor's territory, well, then they know, well, we're practically asking a declaration of war if that's the case, and we know they're gonna go against us. Mind you, remember back in Marineford, the Marines almost lost to Whitebeard. If not for a few things going wrong at the end of that fight, like for example Ace dying, really, Whitebeard would have won. Really would have won. That's how powerful these Yonko, these emperors can be. And the world government's like, we do not want to deal with these guys right now. We do not have the power or the capability yet or the strength yet in our arsenal to deal with an emperor. And we're now seeing the positive, the facts that now it's looking like some more officials, some more government officials, like aka the world government, hell, even the Navy, when they see the Straw Hat Pirates, probably now, they're going to be like, avoid them at all costs. We do not want to deal with them. And they also know the rumors, the fact that he's got over he's got like this fleet on him and everything. Now, mind you, CP0, they don't truly know that, well, Luffy's whole arrangement with this with their whole fleet is just really based on like whole thing of like if those fleet members are there. But let's be honest, their odds are kind of on their own, even though they're an Emperor's crew. They do have a fleet. Luffy has a fleet, but they're all in their own distant areas. It would have to be something on the news where the Straw Hat fleet would have to see like, okay, we got to go help Straw Hat Luffy now. So yeah, no, CP0 doesn't know that, but it's nice to see that. Well, guess what? The world government will purposely avoid Luffy to potentially start a war because they don't want to start that right now. Compared to if Luffy wasn't deemed an emperor, well then Lucci might have attacked these guys on sight. So yeah, now Luffy's like, here Jinbei, take Bonnie and get out of here. I'll freaking deal with these guys. So yeah, now Luffy comes across the body of Atlas that is all smashed, and he asks Chopper, he's like, Chopper, can you please do something for this person? They gave us food. And Chopper's like, I don't know if I can do this. You know, I'm not much into these robot stuff, but I guess I can do what I can. We gotta go find Frankie, pretty much. So yeah. Now Lucci in the meantime is like, listen, I get the point that it's a bad time to fight, and it would be bad to fight this guy, but you know, this is a matter that I need to deal with, an internal one. And mind you, Lucci's more than likely probably remembering what happened the last time him and Luffy fought. And I've seen other people say like he probably is doing this to test his own strength and everything, but we know Lucci is kind of a defiant person. So yeah, Luffy's obviously mad at Lucci and the others because, well, guess what? You know, Atlas is somebody that gave them food. In the meantime, we cut over to Navy headquarters, and we see how Akainu gets word that the Straw Hats are on Egghead, and pretty much Akainu's like, oh god, another damn thing after another. Jeez Louise. And pretty much we find out that even Akainu knew that CP0 was there to kill Vegapunk, and pretty much he's like, it looks like, I guess, I'm like, does that mean, Akainu goes and say, does that mean Vegapunk learned of what CP0 is planning? And one of the people who's talking up and giving Akainu these information, like, yeah, that's kind of what it seems like. So Akainu goes on to say, it's a declaration of war at this point. I wish those brats would have talked to us first. Now, Akainu actually makes a good point. You know, we know that Vegapunk is going to go join the Straw Hat crew, or Luffy's gonna take him out to sea to get him to safety and protect him, pretty much. And Akainu's like, if Vegapunk's pretty much recruited by the Straw Hats and he's now joining them, then we're pretty much losing a major source of our power. That is the world government, pretty much, and the Navy. And when you look back at it, it's like, no, yes, you're right. You would be losing probably more of a technical aspect of this whole thing that maybe you might not, let's be honest, probably can't replace. So yeah, now Akainu asked where the hell is Kizaru, and pretty much this person said he's actually already on his way to Egghead right now. And when I heard that in the chapter, now I also read the unofficial translations, I'm looking at the official, and when I heard Kizaru is gonna be there, I'm like, oh, joy. We're now getting an admiral showing up to the party, and Kizaru's already on his way there. Oh, great. This is, and what I've seen, what other people have been saying, it's kind of like, it seems like this is kind of a rehash of Sabari Archipelago all over again. I'm just like, oh boy, now Kizaru's into the story. How the hell are they going to get out of this situation? And we know Kizaru can get there, honestly, within the snap of his fingers because his ability is light. His Devil Fruit ability is light, literal light. So we know that Kuma, he used his own powers on himself to probably go to Egghead, but we know with Kuma it might take him a little bit longer. Kizaru could probably be there within the snap of his finger because he's moving at the speed of light. So Straw Hat's got a problem with Kizaru showing up, and we know Kizaru, based on his mood, it will determine if he will attack you. But we know that Kizaru is more than likely going to go after Straw Hats, and he's probably going to tell CP0, listen, stand down, I'm taking care of this pretty much now. So yeah, now Akainu's like, listen, tell Lucci to sit down and wait before the Navy arrives. I do not want his dumb ass starting anything stupid. Do not let him fight the damn Straw Hat Luffy. So yes, cut back to Egghead, and of course Lucci and Luffy are obviously fighting. each other. So yeah, now the interesting thing is this: we cut over to what the other Straw Hats are looking at, and they're seeing the fight between Luffy and Lucci. Now Luffy is in his Gear 5th form, against Lucci, who we later find out is in his awakened Zoan form. It's just an interesting tidbit. It's absolutely, I guess, interesting now that Luffy just automatically goes Gear 5th. He just goes Gear 5th. He doesn't waste the time in Gear 2nd, maybe use some Gear 3rd attacks. He goes straight to Gear 5th. Now, maybe that was in response because Lucci powered up. Makes sense. So like, we are not gonna ever get Gear 4th Luffy versus Lucci, which makes sense because let's be honest, Gear 4th is, and when I think about it, Gear 5th is kind of like, and again, I don't like to do comparisons to other anime series and other mangas, shonen series, but Dragon Ball, for example, you know, Gear 4th is like Super Saiyan now, and Gear 5th is like Super Saiyan Blue or Super Saiyan God, pretty much. In other words, what I mean by that is, you know, it's always there for Luffy to use. Luffy can use Gear 4, but remember, Gear 4 has massive drawbacks compared to his other gear. And yet, when we kind of somewhat barely have seen if Gear 5 has any drawbacks, but since it's the fact that it's Luffy's awakening, with his, let's be honest, his Nika fruit powers, I don't really think there is any drawbacks. It's just changed because he's in the form of a transformation. But you know, we know that Gear 4 has massive drawbacks. You know, he's overexerting his hockey abilities to be able to give him more power, whether that's Snake Man or Bound Man. Hell, I guess you want to add Tank Man as well, add that to the fact. But it's an overexertion of his hockey, so when he deforms from it, he can't use his hockey abilities for like 10 damn minutes. So yeah, it's weird. I don't know if he'll ever master Gear 4. I feel like Gear 4, since the overtaxation of his hockey abilities are at like its limit, there really is no way for him to master it, so the drawbacks don't occur, because he's overexerting his hockey abilities. He's putting them at their absolute max. So yeah, but we see how Luffy just goes Gear 5th, and that's the case. It makes sense. Gear 5th's your strongest thing, and you're going against a strong opponent. Just go that direction and things like that. So yeah, now the other Straw Hats who are watching the fight are like, whoa, why does Rob Lucci look a little bit different? And we see how Shaka goes on to say, well, quite a rare specimen of astonishing speed. And he actually makes on the mention, it's usually the case that awakened Zoan fruit power users absorb and control their user's personality. Yeah, he pretty much says like the awakened Zoan powers absorb and controls that user's personality. So pretty much saying that people who have awakened Zoans, they pretty much typically lose control of themselves. And Shaka makes the mention of the fact, like, it's interesting because Lucci's is actually having control of his awakened devil fruits, which shows you how strong Lucci is. And we see Lucci's devil awakened cat fruit modeled leopard form, and pretty much, you know, he's like, you see what, Straw Hat, you weren't the only one that got stronger, I did too. So yeah. Now obviously Lucci's like, Lucci, you don't have clearance to attack. Could you please deform from your devil fruit state, please? So yeah. His awakening devil fruit form looks like this. He looks like his typical leopard form. The only thing is he looks a lot more slimmed down, and he has, like, I guess, in these clouds of fire in the form of the whole, like, air thing, like what Luffy's got with Gear 5th in a bit, as well as his Gear 4th thing. So I'm guessing when you awaken your devil fruits, or we see these users awaken their devil fruits, how we even saw it with Yamato, she had a similar type of thing when she transformed as well. So I wonder if certain awakened devil fruits, they have that whole, like, line of fire or steam around their necks and arms and everything, like Luffy got. Would be interesting and everything. So yeah. Anyways, the real Vegapunk shows up in the lab and everything, and he's like, Shaka, the White Warrior has appeared and everything. And pretty much we see how Vegapunk tells Nami, he's like, hey, do you know anything about this transformation that Luffy's got going on? And pretty much Nami's like, We don't know. We just saw it one time in freaking Wano when he's fighting Kaido, but other than that, we don't know what's going on with Luffy. And pretty much Nami's like, well, isn't this his Gum Gum abilities? And pretty much Vegapunk's like, Gum Gum abilities? What the fuck you're talking about? I looked through all the records of any devil fruits, and there ain't a record of no Gum Gum devil fruit in the book. So yeah, and this is shocking the straw. They're like, wait, what the hell? And pretty much Usopp's like, well then, what the hell is he got? He always said he ate the Gum Gum fruit, and he was a Gum Gum man, pretty much. And pretty much we see how Vegapunk's looking at that, and he's like, such a beautiful sight. He goes on to say he looks just like a god who only appears in the oldest of text. Sanji's like, a god? He's like, that's Luffy. What are you, a moron, you idiot? And pretty much we see how Vegapunk's going to say, indeed, the foolish and laughable warrior of liberation who brings smiles to all people, also known as Nika, the sun god. And in this meantime, we have Luffy, who's obviously in his awakening state. He's just laughing like he was against Kaido. And in the fight against him and Lucci, you know, they're just kind of, it looks like they're somewhat evenly matched, but the thing is, Luffy's actually dodging most of Lucci's attacks and everything. Now, Nami goes to make the mention, I've never heard of the sun god Nika before. And pretty much Vegapunk's like, well, yes, you wouldn't have, because it's a name that's been erased from all historical records. But as long as people wish for him, his existence will never truly disappear. All things are brought into this world with hope, yes, even the devil fruits. And this starts this interesting dialogue, this interesting premise that Vegapunk has in this chapter, which in a way, I guess somewhat it's really a theory, but this theory somewhat maybe explains how devil fruits are created and what the whole thing about the devil fruits are. Vegapunk goes on to say, every devil fruit is a possibility for human evolution that someone desired. If only I could be like this, if only I could be like that. All of these powers represent the many branches of the future of humanity. But the unnatural status is low by the sea, the mother nature, a fitting punishment for its sin. You know, those with powers exist in different dimensions, dreamed up by someone else before them. This is only my theory, so you see, you don't even have to debate whether any god exists or not. Isn't it just such a fascinating world? So pretty much what Vegapunk is pretty much kind of saying about the apparent theory of how devil fruits are created, how devil fruits are brought into this world, is pretty much based on the hopes and dreams of what people wish for, of what they would like to be. Like, for example, somebody, for example, the Logias. It's like somebody wishing and wondering, man, I wish I really had the abilities of a person that with fire. Like, somebody would think of that, and there would be hopes and desires into going or having like something like that, and thus creates, for example, the Mera no Mi. And devil fruit is created because of someone's hopes and desires of potentially having abilities of that of, say, a flame man, having abilities of flames or fire. Well, then the devil fruit would come. So it's a very interesting theory, the fact that, well, if people desire something, desire an ability, a specific, power, said thing, that said, hope and desire could manifest in the One Piece world in the form of a devil fruit. And that's what it does. And then guess the next thing you know, you have the devil fruit is right then and there, which is absolutely crazy, which means damn near these people who can have these hopes and desires can damn near hope and desire like a certain ability, a certain power that may be damn near destructive. Next thing you know, boom, you got your power, which you got your devil fruit that is created, which is absolutely crazy. Again, Vegapunk makes a mention that this is only a theory, so in a way, we potentially maybe have a potential way of how devil fruits are created into the One Piece world, how they exist, what are the truths behind them. But again, Vegapunk's made a theory. Certainly, this is Oda hinting at the fact of this is potentially how devil fruits are created, but it's really not potentially the truth. So there could be a whole nother reason how devil fruits are created, but again, Vegapunk is saying this is just his freaking theory about this whole issue about devil fruits, which again is very damn interesting. Anyways, we see Sentomaru actually show up, and he's like, Vegapunk, what is it that you need me to do? You want me to go against the CP0, but wouldn't that make us enemies? Shouldn't we be going after the pirates? But obviously Vegapunk's like, well, please just listen to what I have to say. Just had the Seraphims go against them, because right now they're after my life to try to kill me. So yeah, anyways, we see the Seraphim of Jinbei, Boa Hancock, and Mihawk. So yeah, that's kind of the thing there. Also, we see that, well, the CP0 also has Esper, a Seraphim version of Kuma, and we see how the CP agents try to order Esper to stop them, but Sentomaru actually tells Esper, no, you attack them. And we see how the Kuma Seraphim actually listens, and we actually get a pacifista authority hierarchy. So in first, we got the 5 elders, so they have absolute control. So whatever they say to the Seraphims or any other pacifistas, they will follow. Next up in line is Dr. Vegapunk, which includes the satellites and the other Stellas as well. And then number 3 is Sentomaru, and then number 4 is authority chip owners, which the CP0 agents are authority chip owners. And the thing is, the CP0 can't like give a freaking call to I actually found this out the other day. I'm from watching a review. The CP0 agents can't call up the 5 elders and say, "Hey, can you say something to tell the pacifistas to join us?" No, the pacifistas don't take orders. The Seraphims, pacifistas, whatever you want to call them, don't take orders off of transponders now, or even off radio calls. So we see at the end of the chapter what happens also too. We have where Luffy uses his new move called Gum Gum Mole Pistol, and again he sticks his hand in the ground, and we know of awakened abilities, especially ones that are paramecia type. Well, no, not paramecia. He's a freaking he's a zone user. Luffy's a zone user. I got to get that out of my head. He's not a paramecia anymore. But we know that in your awakened state, based on your abilities, since Luffy has the abilities of rubber-like properties, he can be able to do that and turn the ground into rubber. So he gives a resounding punch that Lucci doesn't see coming, and Lucci starts coughing up blood and everything. So yeah. But in the meantime, yeah. So not even over the radio, Vegapunk can give orders, even the other Vegapunks as well. So Sentomaru tells, all right, S Snake, S Bear, S Snake, S Shark, and S Hawk, do your jobs, protect the Straw Hats, freaking do that. So yeah, Jimmy actually sees his Seraphim version. They're like, wait, they got our own DNA, dude? They made clones of us and everything? Luffy comes over, sees Sentomaru, and he's like, X-Man, how you doing? And obviously, Sentomaru's like, Straw, why do you look so damn different? He's like, actually, that's besides the point. I don't care, we're enemies, so I'm not your friend and everything. So yeah, now he asks, like, so you're gonna help Vegapunk escape? And obviously Luffy's like, yeah, he asked me to, so I will do it and everything. And pretty much Sentomaru's like, I don't know if that's going to be reassuring or anything, but all right, you're an emperor now, so I guess that's something. But next thing you know, the chapter ends off with Lucci using this move called hand pistol and takes out Sentomaru. Now I don't know if Sentomaru's dead. I don't know if he's just knocked out now, but that's kind of the thing now. Pretty much Lucci's like, we only needed to erase the hierarchy, the highest person in the hierarchy. And pretty much Lucci, as the chapter's ending off, tells the Seraphim, listen, no, you're going to follow our orders. So it's going to be interesting. We have a break, and yeah. So it's going to be interesting. Luffy, I guess, now is not only going to fight Lucci, but he's going to also be dealing with the Seraphim. So seems like Gear 5 is going to be going crazy, I guess. It's funny because I actually saw somebody on Twitter. They said, what if the Seraphim version of Boa Hancock just does not attack Luffy because it's Luffy? I would be like, that would be absolutely hilarious. I don't think that would happen, but it would be absolutely funny if the Boa Hancock Seraphim just doesn't attack Luffy because, well, it's got the, I don't know. I don't know if these, I'm guessing the DNA of Boa Hancock, which would stop Luffy from which would stop her from attacking because Boa Hancock's in love with Luffy, which would be absolutely hilarious if the Seraphim Boa Hancock's like, I will not attack Straw Hat Luffy because I am in love with him. And then Lucci's like, what the hell are you talking about? And then all of a sudden the Seraphim Boa Hancock starts attacking. That would be absolutely priceless. So yeah, unless that's not the case. But solid One Piece chapter. This whole thing about this revealed about what the devil fruits truly potentially could be is interesting. And yeah, Lucci's Devil Fruit Awakening was cool to see, and Kizaru's showing up. So gonna be interesting. To see how the Straws get out of this situation. But anyways, guys, I'm the guy up here. If you guys like the video, leave a like. Put in the comment section your thoughts on this week's manga chapter for One Piece, as well as hit the subscribe button if you want to get more One Piece content or anything One Piece stuff I upload to the channel. Till then, guys, catch you guys in the next video. Peace.